Well, SSX has been around for over 10 years now, but it's never had a proper next-gen installment until now.
SSX stands for Snowboarding, Surfing and Motocross. The first title was released in 2000 for the PlayStation 2. It was a ridiculously over-the-top snowboarding game, which, despite the name, contained no surfing or motocross whatsoever. It featured zany characters, impossible tricks, and courses full of huge jumps and rails. Several excellent sequels helped cement the series as a modern classic. However, the last game was released a full 5 years ago.
5 years is a long time. I bet some spawnlings haven't even heard of SSX. So, as you do when your series has been away for a while, you reboot it.
And it's been rebooted into a slightly grittier, more realistic game. The characters are much less zany, and the courses are all based on real-life mountain ranges. Happily, it's still all completely over the top.
Affirmative. Even though the locations are accurately built using NASA satellite information.
Whoa!
The courses themselves are handcrafted to create as much insanity as possible. But the realistic backgrounds make for some stunning vistas.
You'll be boosting down mountains, getting insane air with ridiculous speeds, and once you pull off a few decent moves, you'll enter tricky and eventually super tricky mode, which gives you infinite boost and lets you execute some pretty bonkers moves.
I love going into tricky. It's like NBA Jam where you burst into flames when you're playing well, and you just get into this real groove. You just pull off massive trick after massive trick, and the controls are pretty forgiving too. You can just let go of the controls and you'll almost always make the landing. It also reminds me of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit because it's got that contained chaos where you're always on the edge of disaster. Plus, best tutorial ever.
Hey, how's it going? Up for a little skyboarding?
All tutorials should be done while skydiving.
Personally, I loved the music. The constant wob-wob of dubstep may not be to everyone's taste, but it works extremely well in the snowboarding genre.
You're all about the wob-wob today, aren't you, Dad?
Affirmative, wob-wob.
I like the music too. It really gets your blood pumping, and I thought it synced up well to what you were actually doing in the game. For example, if you're flying through the air, it goes a bit quieter, and then it seems to always sync up perfectly as you land, and drops the fat beat.
I thought the courses are great too. There's loads of different routes you can take and shortcuts to find, and every mountain has its own style and dangers to worry about, which stops things from ever getting repetitive.
And the main campaign will take you on a tour across each of the mountain ranges. There's some story about Team SSX trying to beat their old rival Griff, but like most stories in sports or racing games, it's pretty pointless. Thankfully, it's all dealt with in a handful of short cutscenes, so it doesn't get in the way.
Recent news has found my ears, though, that one of their original team members, Griff Simmons, has bailed on Team SSX. And with Griff gone, most of SSX's funding has followed.
With each mountain range you reach, you'll unlock a specific piece of character gear which will help you deal with that danger on the range. So for example, you need Kaori's oxygen tank to survive the thin air up on Mount Everest, or Elisa's wingsuit to cross the chasms in Patagonia.
Each range is broken up into several race and trick events, leading up to a final deadly descent where you simply need to survive to the end of the run. These are new to the series and force you to use your special gear to make it to the bottom.
My favorite is Alaska because the camera flips around and you have to outrun an avalanche. Epic.
When you inevitably stuff up and fall down a chasm, you can simply rewind to a safe place. It's used really well though, so it's not an I win button. If you do need to use it during a race, then the other competitors will keep on going while you're stuck rewinding, and you'll only get to use it 3 times in a deadly descent before it's game over.
You earn credits and experience as you play. The higher level your character is, the better gear you can buy with your credits, and buying improved boards and equipment can give you an extra edge on the mountain, or just make yourself glow.
This run is short, so get going right from the start. Every inch counts.
The career is essentially a tutorial, however, simply giving you some experience with the various mountains and special equipment, as well as helping to earn a healthy amount of credits.
There are two other modes, Explore and Global Events. Explore lets you do almost every kind of event with every character, so if you want to try the wingsuit on a few other runs, then you can.
And the global events are a big part of the multiplayer. Here, everyone pays a small entrance fee to compete in the same events. These then go into a huge pool of credits which are divided up between the top scoring players in the event once it finishes.
The entire multiplayer section of the game is what's known as asynchronous, which is a fancy way of saying that you can't play with another player. You can only take turns. There's no head-to-head and certainly no split screen. You're only ever competing against other people's ghosts and scores.
Yeah, that was a real disappointment for me. Some of my best memories playing snowboarding games when I was racing my friends down the mountains. So to have no proper head-to-head, it seems almost criminal, doesn't it?
I was a bit disappointed at that too, but it won me over because everything you do online is connected to your friends. They had this thing called RiderNet, which is kind of like Need for Speed's Autolog. Every event records your ghost, so when you come back after a few days, you'll earn credits if your ghost has beaten your friends. And likewise, you get to go up against your friend's ghost to try and beat them. You can also place these things called geotags. They glow and other players can pick them up, but the longer they stay out there without anyone grabbing them, the more credits you earn. It's kind of like a game of hide and seek.
I found the best strategy was to place them off the side of the mountain where you'd have to die to reach it. No one's going to get that.
Well, we should wrap this up. Final thoughts, Hex?
Well, it's definitely the most fun I've ever had in a snowboarding game, but, you know, it really gets points off for no split screen or head-to-head multiplayer. So I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Oh, I had a great time. It took me back to all those snowboarding games I used to love, but it was new enough for me to enjoy it all over again. I'm giving it 8.5.